And today we're going to take a quick first look at the Cooler Master Case Pro 3. Alright, first thing we're going to do is take a look at the packaging and the way that it's packaged in the box. Now, we've gone ahead and opened it so that we made sure everything was okay, but we put it back in here just as it comes. So when you first open the box, you're greeted by a nice black styrofoam. It's still hard shell foam, but it's not the big white one. It's actually a little bit softer, so that's nice to see. That's the accessory box and the instruction manual, which is right here on the top, which is really nice. Usually these things go inside the case and you find them floating around in there, but we're going to set that to the side. And we're going to take a quick look at how the box comes packaged. Alright, so this is the accessory box. And it comes nicely divided. It's even got quite a few zip ties right here on a nice little riser. And your fan Molex 2 3-pin for the two included fans. And your accessory bag, as well as looks like brackets for something that we'll take a look at later and see exactly what's going on with that. But these are all your thumb screws and your standoffs and your mounting screws. I would have liked to seen these divided out into different categories maybe, but it doesn't seem too overwhelming. So we'll see how that pans out once we get to the end and start building with it. Alright, so with the accessory box out of the way, we're going to go ahead and pull out this foam insert. And we're greeted by the case in a rather nice foam sheet. Now, one thing I can say about the way it's packaged is I do like that, unlike most cases where you have to tilt the case upside or the box upside down and pull the case out of it, because this one has handles, you actually just reach right in there and pull it right out. Makes that whole process extremely painless. Alright, so what we're going to do here is we're actually going to start with the top of the case, and just like with the Mastercase Pro 5, this section comes off, but unlike the Mastercase Pro 5, this one has a strong magnetic clip that holds it on there, so you actually have to push back just a fair bit. And once you got it off, what's really nice is, unlike the full-size case, the mid-tower, this actually has a removable cover. So if you're using this case and you want to be more quiet, you can just put this and leave it back on there. Or if you're leaving it off for extended periods of time and you just don't want dust settling down inside it, it makes for a very nice stealth top. Now it still has the top that allows for a removable bracket for 240 or 280 millimeter radiators or fans to be installed on the top, which they've employed the Incredible Hulk to mount these from the factory, so taking just a little bit of effort to get those loose. Alright, now this one is a bit tighter than the Mastercase 5, but this is what you get with that. It's actually the same bracket here. So we're actually going to leave these off and to the side while we go through here and sort of disassemble the case as we go through it. Now the front of the case has a mesh filtered front, and you notice that bracket that we found in the box is for this. It's actually a 5 1/4 inch mount in case you need it, but it comes separate, or it doesn't come pre-installed, but is easily removed and then added. It's even got the bracket right here for it to support it. Now it does have 120 or 140 millimeter fan support in the front, so you can do two 140s or two 120s, which we're going to be doing two 140s for the build that we're going to do in here. So we're going to go ahead, again, in the fashion of taking it apart and leaving it apart, we're going to set all of those to the side. Now let's go to the back of the case first before we start looking into the interior. And again, have to, de-hulkify these screws. Alright, and they are captive thumb screws. And what's really nice is it keeps the same feature that the Mastercase 5 Pro had, the 5 had, where the side panels slide back and then they tilt down and then you lift them straight up and off. Now as we go through here, you see there is a fair bit of room in the back. It's not quite as much as the Mastercase 5, but it is a much smaller chassis. It's even got the mounts here for the fan controller, provided you wanted to order one of those from Cooler Master. It's only got 2 rubber grommets in the back instead of 3. And this is an interesting little thing, and we'll take a look at that once we go around to the other side, because you'll see where that comes into play. Now it still has your drive bay mounts, but they're accessible from the other side, as well as your power supply cage area right here, and all of your cables that plug in are nice and black, except for these HD audio leads. That's always a bit unfortunate if you're going to use those. So it does retain the nice Velcro straps there, and there's actually more tie down points on this case than there were on the full side or the mid tower Master Case 5. Quick look at the back of the case shows 140 or 120 millimeter fan mount, your I/O, as well as 5 PCI Express brackets, so 4 for your standard micro ATX cases, plus that 5th one in case you have a case that supports Crossfire or SLI that allows for a space in between the graphics cards, and this hangs down just a little bit. Now it does have the removable plate for the power supply, so I'm not going to take that out just yet, but you have to take this out, you mount the power supply to it, then you slide the PSU into it. Now I'm going to go ahead and break these loose as we turn around and we go to look at the other door as well as the interior of the case. So here is the other side with a full-size window from top to bottom, and then the nice blackout piece on the bottom here. Again, it slides out, tilts down, and lifts straight off. And it does again have this nice, it's screwed in on here, so if you wanted to remove this to have a full view of the entire case from top to bottom, including the power supply area, that's cool. You can take that off and start taking a look around on the interior. Now this piece that we looked at originally is removable so that you can either have it or not have it. I mean, it can be used for cable management, a reservoir mount, and if you're not going to use it, there's no harm in removing it, but it does hide the back of the motherboard from when you're looking through the window. Now here are your two 3 1/4 inch drive bays. Now they are movable. You can move them back, but you have to remember this case is a bit shorter, so you may run into power supply clearance issues if you do so, but that'll allow you to mount a radiator to the front, up to a 280 millimeter radiator if you wanted to. Now, unlike the Master Case Pro 5, you only have one grommet right here for cabling or tubes or whatever you want to mount through here. You do have 2 sleds for SSDs. Now, looking at it, I can see that one of these can be moved to the back of the motherboard, and if you didn't want them down here, because it would obstruct the bottom GPU if you had one that hung down. So you can either leave it here, move it to the back. Looks like the only 2 places. And again, there's your power supply area and your rather generous cutout, which is actually bigger than an ITX case if you were to install an ITX case or motherboard into this system, which we may have to do for the review. But this has been the Cooler Master Master Case Pro 3, and stay tuned as we bring you guys a full review of this case as well as a build in it, and some more things are coming soon. So if you found the video informative, feel free to like, share, and subscribe, and we will see you all in the next one.